Hi everyone, it's Jerry. I'm on chess.com and I just got paired up playing a 5-0 game. So let's see what we get. A Sicilian on board. Let's go into an open Sicilian. See what kind of variation black throws at me. Dragon, Najdorf, Najdorf. Alright, bishop g5. Queen d2, preparing queenside castles. Let's get on with it. And start throwing my my kingside pawns. Black will be going kingside after all. Yeah, let's get on with it. Start with f4. And if I back up, there is knight takes e4. So I think right around now, I'm prepared to give up my bishop. Yeah. Maybe f3 and g4 was another approach. We'll run with this though. Kind of have to. The alternative again allowed knight takes e4. I was expecting knight to c6, just throwing immediate pressure on d4. So that move. Where do I want to go with my bishop? I want to play g5, but if I do that now, I'd have to take like this because my rook is unprotected. So where to go with my bishop? Just maybe e2? Let's see, maybe I could take the knight. Yeah. I think I want bishop to e2. Let's just go bishop e2 with still a close eye on a knight reposition into c4. And I'm getting the sense now that my opponent is going to go queenside after bishop to d7, so... But even so, this is the way forward. And maybe bishop g4, although this useful move of king to b1 is probably better. Yeah, go queenside. Let's get king b1 in. King b1 and a3. Oftentimes, if this is a maneuver for the knight to try to get into c4, you'll want to delay the bishop move so you could take out the knight in one move, but I had a clear plan in mind with quickly trying to open things up on the queen side. So throwing some heat on my on my d4 knight. I want to avoid a queen exchange. So let's play to b3. I have some direct pressure now on the d6 pawn. And maybe even knight a4 into b6 is an idea. That's a very active move. Can I make something like this work? That would be interesting. Or suppose I even do something fancy like exchange rooks, knight c5. No, that just drops. So, can I shoo this queen away? She is a pretty big bother. Yeah, she's a bother. Okay, maybe I'll give up control of the h-file and try to maybe key in on these dark squares. The bishop won't be around to remedy. Yeah. So that let's see what black has in mind. I definitely want to avoid a repetition, but that's just a little bit of a feeler just then. And with that said, maybe now let's put the bishop on f3. You know, in this case, if knight a5, I could just take out the knight, so I don't necessarily need my bishop on c4 at this stage. And right around now, maybe just as a little bit of a feeler, we throw in knight to a4, see what the queen wants to do. And maybe even queen here. Yeah, I think I like this move, queen here. Also, if that drops the knight now that the bishop isn't there, and I'm putting pressure on the rook in the corner. So maybe I could take over control of this file. Yeah, probably the rook. And my knight feels a little bit awkward here for sure. Can I just enter with my rook? My queen is defending the bishop. Feels active, let's do it. I'm a little bit concerned about my knight getting trapped. How could I move forward? What about e5 here? Yeah, that feels pretty good. Let's open this up and also key in on the c5 square. They just gave me control of the c5 square. My bishop. How can I move forward here? Knight c5, this move. That's a little bit concerning. Are there any tactics here? Where are the tactics? All right, let's try this move with the idea of having b3 on this advance. And I'm realizing that move a bit too late. Okay, maybe b5. Things are getting really, really sharp. Really sharp. It's a really committal move if that b pawn goes forward. But this queen b3, I think I'm entering. Yeah, this sharp position. I have certainly the far more active rook. Passive, passive. The queen is the most active piece right now, but these two are not so bad either. On a bishop takes, I could consider taking with the queen because I am on the rook. I do have a flight square. I like that. I'm also down a minute. This game has been flying by. Sharp position. Keep our eyes open for tactics. Okay, this feels like this should be winning for me somehow. Smashing through on c6, bishop takes knight is the threat. I want to avoid the queen exchange. I feel like I should have some mating attack here. Where are the unprotected pieces? Knight takes a6, bishop takes knight. Feels like this should be winning. Suppose queen here. I could take on a6. Okay, that is a check. I don't have many options. Let's go here. Queen a5 trying to defend simply drops the knight. Now this active piece feels a little bit, well, seems like she's not tied in so well anymore. I don't feel like I'm inconvenienced, let's say, by the queen. Queen e3, queen b6? Yeah, she's just going back there, but I do have bishop takes knight at the very least. Bishop takes knight, bishop takes knight. Suppose I start with knight takes b7. Isn't that close to a game ender? Knight b4 might be a move. No. Let's take here first. Get out of the line of fire, and now I'm prepared to meet bishop takes b7 with bishop takes knight. Alright, let's do it. I'm threatening mate. The queen is dropping back. I'm up a pawn. Let's take. And maybe I am completely fine with exchanging queens here. Let's try it. Let's improve the king. I'm up a pawn. I still have an active rook. Maybe I win another pawn. Sure does seem like it, and also I'd be defending my base point of my, yeah, they just resigned. I figured that they would test me, because I'm not quick. I don't have confidence playing bullet speed-wise sometimes here. Yeah, a little bit of an early resign. I mean, I am better here. And okay, well, I guess I am going to be picking up a second pawn. And there really isn't a way forward for these pieces in the end. Wow, what a sharp game. The Sicilian. Before I go over it with the computer, I don't believe I played this right. I think f4 is maybe not too good. Maybe f3 and then go forward with this kind of stuff is better. Because on h6, I think this is a good reply. I have to take, as otherwise the knight sacrifices on e4. This kind of stuff happens. I take the knight, they take here. They're playing with the bishop pair, and they're up a pawn. I have a little bit of a lead in development, but yeah, I wouldn't be fine with this position. I don't like it. So I'm pretty much forced to do this. And what did I play? G4? And black even has some options to put a dent in my dark squares. You know, g5, softening up the e5 square, but I thought something as simple as knight c6 instead of the game move bishop e7. That struck me as a bit odd to pull the bishop off of this diagonal because, you know, I don't know that I am even. I don't think I want to play g5 right now. I'm not threatening to do this because one thing I certainly do not want to have happen in this position is for the e5 square to become a hole. And that's what would happen if I'm even doing a move like g5 just to put on. If bishop d7, g5, well, for one, I'm helping this rook out. You know, it's not like black has already committed the king, so having an open h-file is nice, but this is really the big point. I do not want to give up the e5 square. The best piece for black would be a knight, but a bishop certainly stands well. And even in a position type where it's much more simplified, let's say a major piece specific ending, a queen. Or let's say, I don't have to get too specific like that. If it's a simplified, fairly simplified endgame, let's say major pieces and just a single minor piece, a queen, she could take up a very nice post on this e5 square. So let's dive in. This is really the main point of the opening stage, at least. I thought, you know, I'm in trouble actually. Well, not in trouble, but I thought knight c6, and then, you know, I have to back off and maybe then b5, or maybe even black still follows up with this and prepares to go queenside. But I thought that black really didn't have to pull the bishop off of this diagonal. Might as well wait for g5 to hit before going to e7. Anyhow, let me pull up the engine and we'll see what more we can take away from this one. Alrighty, let's go through this one. An open Sicilian on board. And I play this bishop g5 move. Let's get to that point real quick. Queen d2. Oh, what? Yeah, I didn't even consider this. I could go in for the structural damage. Try to play against this. Try to make that e6 pawn flinch. Try to weaken, soften up the d5 square somehow. Okay, that's an alternative. I queenside castle, bishop e7, and yeah. It wants to go with f3. So on f4, what does it have to say about f4? Okay, I could still go with f4. And I do need to take the knight here, just confirming if I drop back, there is in fact knight takes e4. Yes, knight takes e4, knight takes e4, bishop takes bishop. Yeah. Okay, so important tactic to be familiar with. I take that knight out now. Yeah, okay, g4, h4. I'm taking a pause right here just for a moment because I just saw it pop up g4 and h4, and I'm just trying to figure out the difference between the two. I mean, it may very well be the case that they both get played and the move order does not matter, but I'm trying to reason out what is maybe the less committal move, but probably the less committal move is h4. With this earlier talk of weakening the e5 square, if I play g4, black can already think about making my f4 pawn flinch, and that would grant the e5 square to the black pieces. But you don't get that, at least at this moment right here with h4. I always have a g3 pawn that can reinforce f4, and as a result, reinforce e5. So I'm being very technical right here, but maybe I would be leaning more towards h4 before g4 if I could do it over again. I'm not sure how much it really matters in the end. Anyhow, I went with g4. And I was pointing out I thought knight c6 right here. It even suggests this other reply, knight to f3. I was intending knight b3. I guess it's okay with that. Yeah, notice the suggestion here, g5. Ah, so noticing a difference here between the two posts with the knight. It does already like g5 for black. However, maybe I make black think a little bit more about playing g5 by keeping my knight in this key section of the board, these key 16 squares, where it is optimally placed, and now it fights against this g5 advance. It may still be good for black. You know, there is compensation, I imagine, giving up a pawn like this, an open file, and the e5 square, and the position is opening up for the two bishops. But there is at least now some cost connected with g5 with the knight on f3 compared to b3. Okay, well, in the end, the bishop voluntarily just went back to e7. I get on with h4. Bishop e2, it popped up for a second. King b1. Okay, I went with bishop to e2. Bishop d7. A3. I was thinking a3 right around now, but I think maybe those are king b1, a3. Figured I've said g4, h4. Let's get on with that final push, g5. Breaking open the queenside. Black is there just in time to queenside castle. You know, if the bishop was still on c8 in this position, black would have a difficult decision. Capture me and give me complete control over the only open file, the h file, or move the rook to a passive post. You know, but black is there just in time to queenside castle now. Just a hair of a pull, 0.3-ish for me. So let's go with the knight takes. Yeah, maybe getting one more minor piece off. Playing with this small pawn center, exchange a knight, put the bishop on c6 is an improvement for black. g6. Oh, I popped up for a moment rook to h6. This is not something I considered. Yeah, that's interesting. Rook to h6. In the event of a capture, I get a passed pawn. And black may be a little bit offside with the queen. You know, maybe not such an easy task in trying to hunt down that passed h-pawn. Okay, that's something to note. A rook h6 move. I went with something more standard, I guess. A little air for my king. Queen b6. And now knight f3. Yeah, I was pretty much locked into this knight on b3 move. What is it with this? I wonder what's making me think more about knight b3 instead of knight f3. Maybe the security of the knight, having a pawn supporting it, and he's still over near the king side. I mean, I'm used to this as like an e5 move much earlier on in the game, a knight b3 reaction. But yeah, I'll have to keep this move in mind as well. It's clearly popping up in multiple variations now. Okay, well, in the end, knight b3 can't be so bad. Queen f2. Do I have something here? Rook h to f1. Okay, that's the move I played. And the queen simply goes back. What would I do if queen b2? What did I have in mind? I think I was leaning towards knight a4. Or no, I wasn't leaning towards that. I was saying it during the game. I was going to try to key in on these dark squares. Queen to e3 it does like, and quite a lot, I would say. This is a significant advantage now, close to a pawn and a half. So yeah, we repeat it a little bit. What could I have done better here? Because I definitely don't want to do some type of back and forth. Queen to d3. My first impression is, what is that even doing? What kind of an improvement is that for the queen? Hard to say. I don't know. I'm not sure. Okay. Rook h1, and in the end, we didn't have that repeat. Now I went with bishop f3. It likes bishop f3, bishop g4 as well. And yeah, that's just, bishop f3 was just to stop a repeat of queen to f2. Knight a4, it's a fan of. Queen back to a7, bishop g4, knight c3. This is where I played what? Queen c3. Is it okay with that? Not really. Okay, it's not a losing move or anything, but there's certainly a shift there. It wants to capture. Bishop takes? I wouldn't have gone with bishop takes. I would have captured with the rook. Now apparently e5 is strong. Huh. Yeah, that certainly breaks down my little pawn chain here and looks to activate that dark square bishop. Okay, well that would have been an interesting turn of events, an interesting way to change the structure for sure, to try and put that X factor bishop into action. What did black do? Okay, they did go with that and then played queen f2. So the better reply here is to follow up with e5. Okay, black played queen f2. It's still okay with that. And now I get my chance to play e5. Yeah, this is where I played e5. No, I activated my rook first. It suggests once more e5. So this was something we both overlooked. The changing of the structure. Only after rook to f8 I played e5, and now it is a fan of my position just by a hair. d5, and now this is probably where I made it's the longest think. I jumped in with my b knight. I think it's extremely important which knight you go with. A knight to d4. Ooh. That would have been a big shock to me if knight to d4 was played. I'm giving up the d4 square by going with this knight. The issue I saw with going with the other knight is d4. I thought, at least. Oh, I could just scoot over to d3. I was thinking if I do this, then I'm losing stuff. Get to take and then take on f3. Or excuse me, just take the queen. Here I can't even take back. Okay, well, apparently going with either knight to c5 is just not good. I should be going with queen to d3. I don't mean to keep moving like that. I'm left-clicking, or right-clicking, and it's making the move. Okay. d5, I jump in. Black has an opportunity for knight to d4 here. And after this push, queen b3, queen f1 check. Ah, queen f1, and then maybe queen to b5. Threatening a queen exchange, and then my knights are maybe a little bit clumsy. Queen f1, king a2, queen b5 to try and defend. Yeah. And then bishop to e4. Ooh. Tough game. What was played? Queen e1. And I guess after that, I'm winning? Yeah. King a2, the queen drops back to try and defend, but no. I did find the correct sequence here, first taking on b7, and then c6. Taking here allows bishop takes knight. Still better for me, but not as convincing. Okay. Did not mean to go that far back. Knight takes b7 is best, bishop takes, and only now take on c6. Queen c7, and in this endgame I am up a pawn, and now my king. It's kind of weird how that happened. This is how he emerges into this endgame. King c4, and yeah, I'm up a pawn. It is +3. My opponent resigned at this stage. I will be picking up another one, and really the biggest thing is that there's just no counterplay for black. Material plus, and even if somehow there is pressure on f4, my rook, once he captures on f7, is there to defend f4. Sharp game. I certainly, as you could tell, learned a lot from these different suggestions the computer was throwing my way. Hopefully you were able to take something away from this one as well. Feel free, as usual, to leave any feedback in the comment section below, and I will catch you in the next video. Hope you're having a great day. Take care. Bye.